Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. With the Indian economy continuing to struggle with its downward slide and the government looking reluctant to do its bit to support a sagging economy, it is the monetary policy of the Reserve Bank that has taken the front seat in the matter of supporting a diminished Indian economy and triggering its revival. With very little and a grossly exaggerated support of a fiscal stimulus from the government, it is the Reserve Bank that continues to do the heavy lifting to stimulate growth in a struggling economy today. And that's been the case throughout the contraction of the Indian economy that began last year. Normally, it is the government's fiscal policy that plays the primary role in such a situation, and the Reserve Bank plays a parallel supporting role of a second fiddle as part of an effective strategy under India's fiscal and monetary structure. But with a compliant Reserve Bank of India looking tamed and suppressed by an overbearing Modi government, the role seems to have been reversed now, and with all its limitations and restrictions, the Reserve Bank is now doing what the government is actually required to do. It is in this background that the Monetary Policy Committee decision of the Reserve Bank are keenly awaited and watched nowadays as India seeks to pull out its economy from the pandemic's afflictions. The Reserve Bank of India announced its latest MPC decision last week. In the run-up to the MPC committee deliberations that took place between 2nd to 4th of June, most analysts and economists had expected the MPC to maintain status quo in respect of key interest rates and also its future outlook. A Reuters poll of 51 economists had reported that they unanimously expected no change whatsoever in the key interest rates. And that's because with the GDP growth languishing on one hand, the interest rates cannot be increased. And with inflation rising in India on the other hand, the interest rates can also not be decreased. Status quo was the most obvious thing. Most, however, expected the Reserve Bank of India to revise its GDP growth and inflation estimates for financial year 22 in the changed economic scenario because of COVID-2. And that's just how it has turned out to be. The RBI governor, while announcing the MPC decision, said that the MPC took stock of the evolving macroeconomic and financial conditions as well as the impact of the second wave of the pandemic and voted unanimously to maintain status quo, keeping the repo rate unchanged at 4%, the reverse repo rate unchanged at 3.35%, and also decided to continue with its accommodative stance as long as it may be necessary to revive and sustain growth in the Indian economy on a durable basis and to continue to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on the economy. The key decisions of the RBI and the MPC, as were announced by the governor in his speech, have been as follows. The first one, as we said, repo rate kept unchanged at 4% and reverse repo rate kept unchanged at 3.35%. The second one, policy stance continues to remain accommodative as long as necessary to revive growth and to sustain growth on a durable basis in the Indian economy. The third one, the RBI revised its GDP growth forecast for financial year 22 from its earlier projection of a bullish 10.5% to 9.5% now, and also revised its inflation estimate upwards to 5.1%. The next was to keep interest rates low and ease the raising of funds by the government. The RBI announced a GSAP, a purchase of government securities of 1.24 lakh crores in the quarter ended June 2022 of the current financial year. The RBI then provided liquidity of 15,000 crores to banks with a 3-year tenor for lending to contact-intensive sectors like hotels, restaurants, parlors, salons, spa clinics, event and conference organizers, tourism, travel, tours, aviation, etc. As they said, contact-intensive sectors. It provided a special liquidity facility of 16,000 crore rupees to SIDBI in order to support the funding requirements of micro, small, and medium enterprises. And finally, it increased the maximum threshold for restructuring of MSME loans from the earlier announcement of 25 crores to 50 crores now to ensure that more MSME units are now eligible for it. The RBI governor tried to sound optimistic, saying that the resilience of the agriculture sector, forecast of a normal monsoon, and gathering momentum in the global economy will help the domestic economy as the pandemic tapers off and could provide, according to him, tailwinds to the revival of the economy as the second COVID wave abates. With this announcement, the Reserve Bank has now kept the repo rates unchanged at 4% since May 2020, hoping that corporates and consumers will be encouraged to borrow and spend and invest. But that's not happened. While on one hand, the system is clogged with NPAs which hinders monetary transmission, on the other hand, the borrowers, whether corporate or non-corporate borrowers, just do not have the opportunities or the confidence in the economy to risk taking further loans from banks. A recent Reserve Bank survey says that consumer confidence in India has fallen now to an all-time low. Low interest rates and abundant liquidity have failed to trigger borrowing, investment, and spending in India. The Reserve Bank's MPC strategy continues to hinge on the expectations of corporate borrowing and spending, which has not been working, and it has eroded fixed deposit rates, which is a huge cost that the middle class now pays for a failed government policy, according to us. The fact of the matter is that monetary policy initiatives of the Reserve Bank will not work if the government continues to be unwilling to take its responsibility and be in the driver's seat with an adequate fiscal stimulus that puts money directly in the hands of all those who need it the most. The reality is that a proactive monetary policy, as we see in the case of Reserve Bank, does not deliver if there is no matching support from the government by way of a proactive and adequate fiscal policy, which has been missing in India. Moreover, even the Reserve Bank, according to us, can do much more in its monetary policy initiatives and measures at such times. To understand which, let us examine the monetary measures initiated by the US Fed in America to combat the COVID crisis in tandem with the generous fiscal support of about $6 trillion which has been provided by the American government, because of which the US economy today is already bouncing back with growth, unlike the case of the sagging Indian economy. The measures initiated by the US Fed to tackle the COVID crisis on the American economy have included many. The first are measures for banks. To lower the cost of borrowing on mortgage loans, auto loans, home loans, etc., interest rates have been reduced to near zero, with interbank lending rates cut down between 0 to 0.25% by the American Reserve Bank. The second measure for banks is the infusion of massive funds in the economy by purchase of almost any security or loan backed by collateral securities from banks, financial institutions, and other funds. The third measure, low interest rate loans up to $500 billion to large banks, financial institutions, and mutual funds to ensure that money markets continue to function stable and smooth. The fourth measure, unlimited short-term repo lending to banks at about $80 billion per borrower per day, now aggregating to lending done so far to the tune of $1 trillion, thus effectively pumping money into the system and virtually compelling banks to lend and borrowers to borrow. And finally, the US Fed has indulged in direct lending to banks in order to bolster their resources for giving further loans to borrowers and also for meeting depositor withdrawal requirements. The second set of measures pertains to corporates. The US Fed has indulged in direct lending to major corporates through issuance of bonds with a 6-month moratorium aggregating to $750 billion so that they pay their salaries, they pay their vendors and suppliers and keep their respective companies running. The second measure for corporates is provision of working capital loans to corporates through short-term commercial papers in order to help them to maintain their operations and also business liquidity. Supporting loans have been provided to MSMEs up to $600 billion. Supporting loans have also been provided to non-profit institutions, including schools, hospitals, social service organizations who were in good financial condition and health before the pandemic but have now been affected adversely by the pandemic. The US Fed also has had measures and reliefs for households. Asset-backed loan facility to households, consumers and small businesses, including student loans, auto loans and credit card loans up to $100 billion have been provided. The Fed has also given support to states and municipalities by way of direct lending through bond subscription up to $500 billion to those entities with investment grade rating to resolve their enormous financial crisis. The direct infusion of funds by the US Fed in this manner totals $2.5 trillion so far, and that's not the end of it. It continues to be open to fund even further. While we recognize the fact that unlike the US Fed, the Reserve Bank directly lends only to banks and financial institutions and not to corporates, business entities, households and others. However, the point to note is that the defining difference between what the USA has done and what India has not done is to put money directly into the hands of individuals, households, NGOs, business entities, large corporates and other entities like municipalities and state governments in order to keep the economy running. We have failed to do that. It is this absence or scarcity of cash flow in the hands of those who need it is what stops the Indian economy. By halting payments to vendors, by halting payments to employee salaries and lenders, and thus eroding much needed consumption, spending and investment that gives momentum and growth impetus to any economy. And that is what is missing, and that is what we see in India today. A monetary policy or a fiscal stimulus which pumps money directly in the hands of the consumer and the producer is the need of the hour. And to us, that is the missing element in the Reserve Bank's policies, which make it a virtual non-starter. Of course, it is the government's failure to do its bit that also makes the Reserve Bank policies come up proper, and that needs to be resolved. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Hello everyone. HW News English is 2 years old now. When we started this venture, we promised ourselves one thing, that news should remain free, because right to know is the right of every Indian. But to keep news free for everyone, we need support from some of you. And thus we have rolled out membership on our YouTube channel HW News English. But mind you, the membership is completely voluntary. The programs that we were doing earlier, that we are doing now, will continue to remain free. First level is a basic level. Here, you can be our supporter by paying Rs 199 per month. This membership gives you certain perks and benefits. The perks include unique badges in front of your name, a live show from Mr. Sujit Nair and from Mr. Akhilesh Bhargava per month for our members. You can also vote in some exclusive members-only polls. Now the second level is Super Supporter. Here you can be our Super Supporter by paying Rs 3,999 per month. This membership will include every perk that comes with basic level. Additionally, our Super Supporters can be a part of a WhatsApp group where we can have discussions and suggestions on various topics. The second perk includes a gift pack with our merchandise. And the third perk is a Google Meet with Mr. Sujit Nair, where you can join the meet and ask your questions to Mr. Nair face to face. Lastly, if you like, we would give a shout out to our super supporters in our programs. So, hope to see you soon with our badges.